And joining us now is the man who has written what I'm sure, well, maybe I will ask him if he considers it to be the definitive biography on Michael Jordan. It's Michael Jordan, The Life, and we welcome in the author, who also happens to be with USA Today, where he writes. Of course, it's a great book, Roland Lazenby. Hello, Roland. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, I could watch Michael Jordan fly through the air, and there's so much in this book. First of all, he did not cooperate with you. You did not talk to him for this book, correct?
That is correct. I've written much about the Bulls and covered much of Michael's career. He's helped me with other book projects, but biographies are a different thing. It's an independent examination, and so I went and told Michael personally I was doing it, but I did not anticipate that he would want to participate.
Right, right. Well, I mean, he's quite a story, and we could sit here all day and talk about the different aspects of his life, of his career, right up to the point of where he is now. One point of interest, I think most people have this question. I know I always have, and it was mentioned in the play-by-play of that dunk, that the tongue. Has he ever explained the tongue? I mean, it's obviously not a conscious thing. It just happens, correct?
Yes, well, my book is built from the family up, and it begins with his great-grandfather on the coastal plain of North Carolina, a sharecropper and a moonshiner. He was 5'5" and crippled, but a very powerful man, and he had the tongue. It goes back
really?
to the family.
Wow.
Yes.
Huh.
Jordan's father also picked up the tongue from the grandfather.
Now, when you say picked it up, when you say picked it up, not to interrupt, does that mean it is conscious, or it just happens naturally?
Well, it happens naturally, but it's who knows? Who could sort out what is genetics,
right,
and what is family practice, and what is observed behavior. As a form of concentration, it's been there, and it goes back in the Jordan family.
All right, now you brought up the 5'5" and physically handicapped, and I read a quote which was falsely attributed to you in your book, but it turns out it's an old quote where Michael Jordan talked about how he resented the way that relative, you said grandfather, or uncle. Which one was that?
No, it was his great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather.
Michael was raised and lived his early formative years with 4 generations.
Okay, so he resented the way that his great-grandfather was treated. He also, I believe, tells a story of a girl speaking in a derogatory way towards him regarding race, and he threw a soda at her, and he's quoted as saying at one point that he, at that point, and I think it was when, I don't know, junior high school, you tell me, he hated all white people. Now, that was, like I said, originally attributed to your book, which it's not from your book. It wasn't made to you by Michael Jordan. Where is that from, and at what age was that?
That was in 1992. You know, when you write a biography, you have to survey the literature and look at the total of a person's life. And, of course, that was in my book, but it was in context.
Yeah, but I mean, how old was Michael Jordan when he said that, when that happened
14,
to him?
That was 1977.
Okay.
Had turned 14. He had a number of incidents occur. He had just watched Roots on television. His grandfather had just died. This incident happened at school. And Michael was speaking in an interview to Playboy magazine in 1992. He was just being very honest about his emotion.
Right.
The rest of the quotes says that his parents, spent a lot of time working with him, explaining to him that you really can't live your life with this bitterness. And you have to learn that it's all about forgiving, not forgetting, but, taking people as you meet them. And, the irony in all this, there's probably not anybody who's had a more integrated life than Michael Jordan.
Oh, I don't hold him responsible for what he said at 14. I mean, that's how he felt at 14, obviously. I just wanted to clear it up and get the age that he was at the time, because I didn't know what age he was referring to when he relayed that story to Playboy. I want you to hear something that's very interesting. And you're a great sports writer in addition to a great author. And there's been a lot of talk LeBron against Michael Jordan in the prime, and Jordan thinks he could take him and all that kind of stuff. This is a very interesting soundbite. Listen to this.
Finally, I said, look, dude, you may be the best high school player, but I'm the best player in the world. So from this point on, it's a lesson. And from that point on, it was a lesson. He never won a game. I posted him up. I did everything. If I can ever show you that film, and if you can ever ask him that, ask him about the thing that happened at my camp. If I was in my prime, who would I want to play one-on-one with? That list is very long. Start off with Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Kobe Bryant in his prime, LeBron in his prime, D-Wade in his prime, Melo. That's a good start. Yeah. I don't think I lose. Other than Kobe Bryant, because he steals all my moves.
You wrote the book on Jerry West, of course, and many other books. You think he'd prevail, prime against prime, with all those players?
Well, Michael has been playing one-on-one ferociously since he took on his brother, and his brother beat him repeatedly when Michael was 11 and his brother was 12. And as Bull psychologist George Mumford explained to me, that was how Michael related to all his teammates, to everyone he ever encountered in basketball. He wanted to dominate them. James Worthy, in interviews for the book, said, when Michael got to UNC as a freshman, he was a bully, and he bullied me into playing one-on-one. It is what Michael does. It is the way he measures the alpha male nature.
So is that a yes or is that a no?
I'd love to see him play all of them.
Yeah, so would I.
I learned long ago, never bet against Michael Jordan.
Yeah, there you go. Well, funny you mention that, because and there's so, like I said, this book, folks, you could see this book and you could see the size of it, and there's so many avenues to take in this interview, but we only have about 4 minutes left. So let me ask you said bet. Michael Jordan, of course, had a gambling problem. It was well acknowledged. There's been talk and speculation. I don't know how true it is. I ask you, how much trouble was he in with the NBA? I mean, did the NBA ever ask him to leave? Did it ever put his career in jeopardy as an owner, or as a player, or as an owner?
Well, I think that there's been a lot of speculation on that over the years, but the evidence doesn't really add up. First of all, Michael, of course, had tremendous economic impact with the NBA. Second of all, for him to be, quote, suspended, he would have had to violate the game a la Pete Rose. Michael has said repeatedly, I'm no Pete Rose. And look at it. No one, and I mean, people have everything to say about Michael Jordan. No one in any way, anonymously, on the record, off the record, has ever accused him of betting on basketball, betting on his own games. And then you have to look at what happened when he returned. He left the game in a state of grief over his father, went and played baseball. When he came back, and after he played, David Stern, the commissioner, went out of his way to make sure Jordan became an owner. He really made a huge effort.
Right.
You don't do that for
Good point.
Gamblers. Now, Michael has continued to gamble legally, as he has casinos. He bets on golf. But the NBA has a long history of its players doing that kind of betting.
But he can't bet. He can't bet on basketball legally, though.
Right.
Yeah.
No, none of that.
Let me ask you one more question, because for time, I think this is very interesting. He almost turned down the Nike deal because he thought the colors of the sneaker were the colors of the devil?
Well, that's his way of joking about NC State. He wanted Carolina blue. But he was going to the Bulls. Michael was he was just in his early 20s then. His mother was the driving force in that Nike deal. It was an unprecedented deal. No one in basketball ever had gotten, even in all sports, had gotten such a deal.
How does he feel? Do you have any indication how he feels, or how he's dealt with the shootings and stabbings and riots at times when his sneakers go on sale? Other people's sneakers too, but do you have any indication on how that's affected him?
Well, obviously, yes. He doesn't like any of that stuff. He has felt deeply. If you've ever known the family of a homicide victim, they are profoundly changed. Michael was profoundly changed. As he came back to basketball after playing baseball, he was dealing with huge levels of anger that the public.
Right. All right. Listen, Roland, we could talk all day, and there's so much to talk about. Every aspect, every angle of Michael Jordan is in this book, Michael Jordan, The Life, by Roland Lazenby, USA Today writer, author. Congratulations on the book. I'm sure it's going to be a bestseller, and thanks for coming on, sir.
Thank you.
Take care, Roland. All right, folks. Interesting. Very interesting. Lots to talk about regarding Michael Jordan. And we're coming back with Gimme 5.